Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to show how to develop a simple Android application that uses layout managers and event listeners. There are many layout managers are available in Android SDK. For example, constraint layout, a table layout, linear layout, etc. You can use any one of the layout manager. Event listeners. Event listener is used to listen for user interface. For example, clicking on button, an event occurred. This event is going to be listened by a event listener. To know more about event listener, you can type event listener in Android. Go to developer.android.com. Input event overview. Here there is more details related to the event listeners. An event listener is an interface. It is actually an interface in the view class that contains a single callback method. And these methods will be called by a framework when the view to which the listener has been registered is triggered by the user interface with the item in the UI. For example, when you click on the button, uh, any one of these callback methods will be called. So if you click on a button, usually on click callback method will be called. And there are many callback methods in the event listener interface: on click, on long click, on focus change, on key, on touch, on create context menu, etc. You can just go through and then know more about an event listener. Now we'll design our application. So if this is my monitor screen or a layout, uh, I'm using some layout manager, and I'll have one student details form. Student details form. I'm going to read a USN name and department of some students. Let me read a USN name name and department. To read the department, you can use a drop down menu, because there will be only few departments. So you can use a drop down menu to read the different departments. Okay, so I'll just read some drop down menu here. So this is my drop down menu. If I click on this, it displays the list of the departments available. So after entering all these details, I'll have one button, submit button. I'll have one submit button. So after submitting the details, so whatever the details you have submitted, that should be displayed on another activity. Okay. So on the another screen or another activity. Here, if I have entered in a sum USN, 4 PS 18 IS 001, and I might have entered in some name Akash and a department. It should display like this. Okay, so in the first activity we're going to read a USN name and department after clicking on the submit button. So it should display the USN name and a department, whatever it has been read. To develop Android application, go to Start, Android Studio, click on Android Studio. It takes a few seconds to load. Go to File, New Project, select Empty Activity, Next, write down your application name. I'm developing a simple Android application that uses layout managers and event listeners. I'll name my application as a layout and event listeners. I'll select a Java and let the minimum SDK be API 26 Android 8.0 version, that is Oreo. Click on Finish. So this is my design, and I will design in Android Studio. It takes a few minutes to load the Gradle. First, we'll design our application. Go to activity underscore main.xml. Okay, so there are three options are available. You can write in a code, or you can drag and drop and design it. And one more is in a split, so where at a time it displays in a code and then the your design. So I'll go with a design. So by default there will be a constraint layout, and there is a text hello view, hello world. You can delete it. Yes. So I would like to go with an layout, linear layout. Okay. So let me change the constraint layout to linear layout, convert view, linear layout, and in a linear layout I would like to go with an vertical. So convert to orientation as a vertical. So first I want to write in a student details form. Go to text, text view, drag and drop the text view. So set the parameters here. Uh, so let the layout width be a match parent, layout height be an wrap content. Text I'll write it in a string.xml, a string slash. So I'll just write a string. So the detailed text I'm going to write it in a string.xml. Okay, so let me write. So go to result res folder, values, string.xml. So here you can write. So what was I wrote it as a stud. So let me write the actual name. A student detail form. Yes, I wrote the text. So after writing the text, so here there is a mistake. I have not written string. So set properties for a text view. Um, Let me set a gravity to the center. Apply. Then let me set a layout margin. Layout margin to 20 dp. Yes, that came down. If you want a little bit down, you can go with a 30 dp. And then I'd like to set the text. If you want to set the text color, you can set it. I'll go with this color. And then text size a little bit big. Yes, that's fine. Style also I want bold. Apply. Yes, that looks fine. I want to set anything else. Now, so we'll take one more layout called a table layout. Okay, drag and drop the table layout here. Yes, in a table layout, there are different rows. By default, there are 4 rows comes. Okay, here we'll have an first row. You can have you can read a USN name and then a department. Okay, yes. Now I want to read in a USN. Take a text view, drag and drop it here. Okay, yes, text view. Now let me set the properties to the text view. Text view. So I'll write the name as an USN string slash. I'll write USN string USN. Let me read it USN and there's a small colon. So that looks fine. Let me increase the size, font size. If you want a little bit down, you can go and set in a layout margin. I'll go with 10 dp. Still I want 20 dp. This looks fine for me. Now let me set text size. I want a little bit big, 18. Fine, little bit, and let it be bold. Apply. Okay, if you want, let it be yes, is fine. USN is looking good. So here you are supposed to read the USN. For that you are supposed to select a plain text. Okay, plain text. Drag and drop below this text view, and it should be within this table row. So please make a note. Inside a table layout, there is a table row. Inside this table row, we are setting a text view and an edit text. So let me set the properties for this. So let the text be normal. So when you enter, let the text be 24. Yes, then I don't want any text to be mentioned here. Let me delete it. No name is given. I'm supposed to enter the USN. By default, it displays as a name. You please delete it. A layout margin, so it's looking a little bit up. Let me set the layout margin to 20 dp. Yes, now it came down. Fine, it's looking fine. Or else if you want 10 dp, so as it is okay. I think it's better to have a 20 dp itself. Layout margin and 20 dp. Yes, now it's looking fine. This is an USN and this is a name. Okay, so let me take in the second row I'm supposed to read a name, and the third row I'm supposed to read a department, and then inside the department I'm supposed to have a drop down menu. Okay, now go to text, plain text, and drop it in the second row. Okay, table second row, not edit text, uh, text view. Drop it in the second row. And now let me set the properties. The name is, let me write it in a string slash name. Yes, that displays the name. Let me set few more properties or attributes. Layout margin 20 dp, text size 24. Yes, bold, apply. Let me add another one. Yes, this looks fine. So now we'll just drag and drop in a plain text. This is to read a name. Let the text size be 24. Let the style be normal. And let me set the layout margin 20 dp. I don't want the text name deleted. Okay, fine. So these properties are enough. And for the third row, take a text view, drop it in the third row, a department. The name I have given is I think DP, right? Yes, DPT. DPT, I'll give. Department. Let me set layout margin. Layout margin, let it be 20 dp. So you can set the attribute values as you want. Okay, so it's left to you which is the design you would like to go with. Okay, let me select 24 and here let me write a colon. Okay, and let the style be text style be bold. Okay, yes, that's much fine. Now we'll have a drop down menu here, the department. So usually there will be a fixed number of the departments, so it is better to go with a drop down menu. So for a drop down menu, you please go to a container, and here there is a spinner, palette or a widget called a spinner. Okay, you are supposed to select a spinner and drop it in the third row, a spinner. Fine. So let me set then a few properties related to the spinner. Let me set in a layout margin 20 dp. Okay, that looks fine. And then let me set a spinner mode. Okay, let me check out what is the spinner mode. Here by default the spinner mode will have already set. Let me check it out. Let me check the spinner mode. Yeah, the spinner mode is in a drop down. Okay, there are two options, dialog and then a drop down. I would like to go with a drop down. Spinner mode is a drop down. Okay, and here we'll have in a button. Okay, for a text layout, let me set it as a wrap content. So illéನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Here I need one button. So this text layout, let me set the height to wrap content. Okay, now it's fine. Height to wrap content. Now we'll have a button here down. Go to layer buttons, drag and drop the button. Okay, here the fourth row is not needed. Let me delete it. Only 3 rows are enough. Yes. So now please be carefully drag and drop the button. Don't drop inside a table layout. Drag and drop here. Okay, now this is the button. Now let me set the properties to the button. Here I would like to go the name within a submit. Yes. So if you want that little bit down, you can just go and put set it down, layout margin, or you want it at center. Gravity is already at center. Layout gravity, you can set it to center. And if you want to change the text size, text style, you can change it. I'll go with 18. Let me go with 24, and text style be bold. Apply. Fine. Yes, it's fine. So if you want that little bit down, I'll go with a layout margin, and let me set it to 30 dp. Yes, now it looks fine. Still, if you want down, you can set to 40 dp. Yes, and then I would like to set a width is match parent and height is wrap content. I would like to go with a width also as in a wrap content. Okay, so this looks fine. So let me run and check how my design looks on the emulator. It takes a few minutes to load. Yes, this is how it looks. I think it's fine. Creation succeeded. Yes. So let me just, I think it looks far away, right? Let me set these properties. Let me go to code and set text layout margin 10. Here, let me set it to 10. And spinner layout is also 10. Okay, fine. Let me run and check it out. Okay, that came little bit near. Let me decrease. Yes, now it's looking fine, right? Yes. Now we'll start writing it. I think I need one more activity, right? So I'll show you how to select one more activity. So for selecting in a one more activity, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನು submit ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. So after entering the details, I'm going to click on the submit button. Whatever the details they have entered, that should be displayed on another activity. Okay, I need one more activity to be displayed. So how to select the another activity? Go to main activity, right click on it, Java folder, And here you can go here, main activity, right click on main activity, go to new, go to activity, empty activity, select empty activity. Here the Java name is given as a main activity 2 and the layout name is given as a activity underscore main 2, and this is not a launcher activity. Let me I'm also going to check it because this is not the launcher activity. So let's just find, click on finish. So this displays in a one more activity. Okay, here activity underscore main 2 dot xml. Yes, I'd like to go with a linear layout, convert view, linear layout, apply, right click on it, convert orientation to vertical, fine. So here I need a three text view, one, two, three. Okay, so let me set the properties to these. So here I'll go with an at string slash, I'll go with a new text. Okay, here I'll write it as a whatever the new text that we enter, that should be displayed here. So I'll write it as a new text. Okay, new text. So this displays, let me put this down, layout margin, set the layout margin, layout margin to 20 dp, that came elected bit still 50 dp, so it came down, fine. And let me set the text size 18. Okay, let it be in a bold, apply. Okay, fine. The same properties you have to set for in a these two. And let me set the width size. The width size, let it be wrap content, that looks fine. And let me put it to a center, the gravity. Gravity, let me set to a center. And layout gravity also, let me set to a center. That came center. Fine. The same properties I want to set. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a copy paste. Okay. Yes, let me check how does it looks. Yes, new text, new text. So here it displays the USN, a name, and here it displays the department. So still, if you want to come to an end down, okay, fine. So this design is fine for me. So if you want to put it down, you can just put it. Okay, so that left to you. Now we'll write in a backend code. So on clicking on a button, what it should do. So let me write what it show after clicking on a button. Okay, yes. Now first we are supposed to create a variables for each of this. Edit text, even I'm supposed to read the data in an edit text as it is right. ಇಲ್ಲಿ edit text ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ edit text. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಡೇಟಾ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೋಡ್ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ because I want to read any data there. Got it? Yes. Even equals edit text, find view by id, so where actually the id is present in a result folder, r dot id dot, so let me check the what is actually the id is. Here the id is edit text person name. Let me select the seal. One more. For the second edit text, create a one more variable. And let me check what is the name given to this. R dot. This is what the name given. Okay, fine. So next, let me set in a declare a object or a variable for a spinner. A spinner. I'll write the name as a yes variable name or an object name. Find view by id, r dot id dot spinner. So if you have any confusion about an id, you can go to activity and select the spinner. Here it displays the id. So not compulsory, the default id should be used. If you would like to change an id, you can change. Okay, and then you have one button. Let me create a variable for button, object or a variable for button. Find view by id, r dot id dot button. Now what you have to do, you are supposed to create an array. For what purpose? uh, for a drop down menu. Drop down menu nalli ಏನೇನು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಅನ್ ಅರೇ. So let me declare an array variable and the content of that array. A string type. Department means you are supposed to write the names of department. Obviously it is a string type. So how to declare an array in Java? So this is how, right? We are supposed to write in a brackets followed by an array name. So it is actually in department, different departments. I'll go name it as an DBTN array, department array. So here let me pass the values for the array. ISE, CSE, ECE, ME, CE, IP E department array. Now what you have to do, there is a class called an array adapter. So using that class, you are supposed to set the values of these array inside a spinner drop down menu. Okay, now let me create a array adapter instances having a department list name. Okay, array adapter, let me name that as a AA. I'm creating an instance or an object of an array adapter. New array adapter this comma r dot layout dot ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು spinner support. Look at here, support underscore simple spinner drop down item. Select this comma. So there is one more attribute or a parameter to be passed, so that is which is actually the array. Okay, list object. So what is the array name is d pt underscore array semicolon. Yes, now I have created an array. I created an array adapter instance. That array is having a department name list. Now I have to set these array elements in a drop down menu. Okay, in a drop down menu. So for that, AA, that is which is actually the array, is a set drop down view resource. Okay, I'll set the content of an array inside a drop down menu. R dot layout dot ಯಾವ್ದ್ರದ್ದು ಇದ್ರದ್ದು spinner. So I'm supposed to set this. Okay, now so there is a function called a set adapter. E spinner ಒಳಗಡೆ what is the instance of an object of a spinner is yes dot set the adapter. Okay, so there is a function called a set adapter. So ಯಾವ್ದ್ರದ್ದು set adapter AA. Got it? Yes. So now what you have to do, now I have set the drop down array list. Okay, I have set the drop down array list. Now I am supposed to write any code for on clicking on the button what it should do. Okay, on clicking on the submit button, what it should do. Okay, so let me take in a bt dot set on click listener. Okay, so set on click listener is an interface. Now you have to write the implementation of that. New view dot on click listener. So inside that you have a function called an on click function. On click function is an method, callback method. Okay, so let me write the what I'm supposed to do. Name. Okay, name. So let me take in a name. Let me take in a 3 variables. A string name. So you have to store the USN name and department. Okay, whatever you are going to get, whatever you are going to read, that should be stored in a variable called a name. Okay, that should be stored in a variable called a USN name department. First let me read an USN is equal to, so from where you are going to read it, from an edit text. So what is the instance of an edit text is even. Got it? Even dot get the text. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓಕೆ get text dot to string. So you're supposed to read in a each and every character in a word, one by one character. So for that you need a to string. Next, name equals e2, I think, right? e2 dot getText dot to string. Okay, and from the department variable ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದನ್ನ drop down menu ನಲ್ಲಿ selected items you are supposed to store it in a DEPT variable. In a drop down menu, whatever the items you're going to select, that selected item should be stored in a DEPT. So for that, yes dot get selected item, yes dot get selected item dot to string. Okay, so now whatever we read from an edit text and store it in a USN, we read from a second edit text and store it in a name, and from a drop down menu we selected a particular item and stored it in a DEPT. Now what you have to do is, so whatever we have read on clicking on the button, that should be displayed it on an another activity. So that is on an activity underscore main. Okay, that should be displayed on an activity underscore main 2. So for that there is a class called an intent. Okay, so there is a class called an intent. So intent connects an or it tells about an so from this activity you should go to the next, which is the next activity. Okay, so let me create an instance for this. Instance I new intent so from where to where, so it's not that you can just click on an alt enter, import the class. Okay, intent main. So ಯಾವ್ದಿಂದ ಈ main activity ಇಂದ I'm supposed to go to a main activity 2.java. Okay, let me write main activity dot java dot this. So this is what the program is, to main activity 2 dot class. Fine, main activity dot to class. Now I dot, what you have to do, you have to put the string which is read from an edit text to a variable called a name underscore key. Put extra name underscore key. I tell you why you need this later, because you are putting the whatever the character from this uh, activity to the next activity. So what content you are putting, or what text, whatever there in the name, you are putting it on a name underscore key, and this name underscore key will be used in the second activity. Got it? I dot put extra, then let me take the name as a reg underscore key USM. So instead of taking a register, I can take a USM. I dot put extra, let me name a department key DEPT Okay. Now what you have to do is there is a one function called as start activity. So this is the activity you have to start, and after starting this activity you are supposed to go to an activity which is mentioned in an intent. Okay, so for that start activity, inside that you are supposed to mention the instance, intent instance. So this intent instance tells about an uh, from main activity to you are supposed to go to an main activity 2 dot class. Okay, now let's write a code to an main activity 2 dot java. Let me write a code to the main activity 2 dot java. It's simple. So let me create a variables or an instance for a text1, text2, text3. So three text I have taken. So let me create an instance or an objects for a text view t1 equals text view, find view by id, r dot id dot. So let me check the word is actually the id is text view 5. Semicolon text view t2 equals text view, find view by id, r dot id dot. Let me check the id is text view 6. Third instance, id is text view 7. Now you are supposed to use the intent class. Intent I get, let me call in a function called in a get intent and store it in an I get intent. So it reads an intent. So intent tells that, so there is a connectivity between the activity from a main activity to the main activity 2. So it should go from a main activity to main activity 2, or from an activity underscore main to activity underscore main 2. So once it calls the intent, what you have to do, you have to put whatever that is being read from the uh, activity 1 to activity 2. So where you have to put it in a text view. T dot set the text to what? So let me check what is the variable we declared. Uh, Name, USN, department. Okay, you can declare any variable you would like to go with. Let me take the same variables. So let's not get confused. That's why I'll take the same variable. Let me declare it here. Okay. Set the text USN T2 dot set text name T3 dot set text department. Okay. So let me check if there is any error. Let me go to the code. Anyway, there is an red color. It indicates there is an error. No error. no error. You also don't have any error. No error. So let me run the app and then check it out. Yes, let me enter the details. 4 PS. What is your USN usually? 4 PS 18 IS 001. So you can write some name. Akash, here it displays the departments, different departments, available department. You can select the department. Okay, and then a submit button. I think something is missing here. So we set the text, but we did not tell what is actually there in the USN name. Okay, we did not get the string extra name. So USN equals I dot intent. I dot get string extra. What is the name we have given is a and name underscore key, name USN underscore key, department underscore key. Okay, fine. USN underscore key. Name I dot get string name key. Then department DEPT equals I dot get extra DEPT key. Let me just cross check the same names we have given. Let me write it within the double quotes. Key USN underscore key, name underscore key, department underscore key. Fine. Yes, let me run the app again. Terminate the previous. Zero 001. Let me write the name and select the department. Submit button. So here you can see it displayed the USN name and department. Fine. So if you want that looks little bit big, you can go with text size. If you want to increase the text size, you can increase it, and you don't want the more space, let it be 20 dp, and this also let it be 20 dp. And if you want to increase the size, you can go with an 24 sp. 24 sp and 24 sp. Let me run the app again. Terminate the previous. PS 18 IS 001. Submit. Yes. Thank you all.